WNBA star Brittney Griner has just pleaded guilty in Russia for drug charges. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So we haven't really talked a lot about WNBA star Brittney Griner and the charges that she's been facing in Russia. As you know, Brittney Griner was arrested in Russia, literally among the war happening in Ukraine. So a lot of people were saying this was not about her having drugs in her belongings. It was more about a hostage situation. But before we get to that, let me just report what CNN is reporting right now. They said Griner, whom the U.S. State Department has classified as wrongfully detained. That's important because I see so many people on social media, oh, these Americans go over to foreign lands and break their laws. And the U.S. State Department has classified this as being wrongfully detained. Brittney faces up to 10 years in prison under this charge. So the 31-year-old was arrested in February, at a Moscow airport after Russian officials say they found cannabis oil in her luggage. The basketball star, who plays in Russia during the WNBA's offseason, has been held since then on drug smuggling charges punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Her trial began last week. So supporters of the Phoenix Mercury player have called for her release over fears she's being used as a political pawn amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The war in Ukraine is still happening. Millions of Ukrainians have left their country. So Griner told the court on Thursday that she had not intended to commit a crime. Russia's state news agency reported, they speaking through an interpreter, Griner said that she had not meant to carry drugs in her luggage and it was the result of her packing in a hurry, the report said. We also have to keep in mind that the state reporting can be a little controlled, not a little, very controlled over in Russia. So Griner left the courtroom without giving any comment to reporters, and her next hearing is set for July 14th. The decision to plead guilty was made by Griner alone, a source close to her said, but in recent weeks, Griner, her family, lawyers, and experts discussed this decision extensively. Given the 99% reported conviction rate in Russian criminal cases, Griner was urged to weigh all the factors, including a plea that could ultimately result in a shorter sentence. Some have speculated Griner could be released and returned to the U.S. in a prison swap, as was Trevor Reed, an American veteran who was detained in Russia for 3 years before being released in April. There's no indication such swap is imminent in Griner's case. So I've been listening and following the story, but I have not reported extensively on what's going on with this story. And well, now the trial has started. We're going to continue to follow this, but something to keep in mind, the reports that we're getting from this, it's going to be a little murky. It's going to be, we have to kind of look like, is this 100% true? Because as I said to you, in Russia, their media is very controlled. My only hope is that Brittney Griner is, first of all, is safe. But I don't think anyone trusts that Russia is going to be doing what they're supposed to be doing or treating her kindly while she's being imprisoned over there. And as I said to you before, with the similar other prison situation, that took 3 years for them to negotiate. I know President Biden has been in communication with Brittney Griner's family and say that they're actively working on getting her out of Russia. This is a scary situation. And as I said to you before, I see and I understand what everyone is saying in regards to you need to follow the laws of places that you're visiting. However, Brittney has been to Russia before, and it makes me wonder what exactly is happening here. I do think that Russia is using Brittney as a pawn in sort of like a carrot dangling over the United States' head while they are fighting with Ukraine. That is a whole larger conversation. As you know, we don't get necessarily too political here, but I have been watching this story, especially when we're talking about a black woman over in Russia being held, and we don't know what is really happening with her. We really don't. And I don't know how much information is being exchanged between Brittney and her family and her legal team because of the sensitive nature of this case and what's going on right now in the Ukraine. All we can do right now, at least as those that are watching this story, is pray for her safe return to her family here in the United States. Guys, let's continue this conversation below. I want to know your reaction to the news that Brittney Griner is admitting guilt in court, and she did take the time to decide whether or not that's what she should do. And with the high percentage rate of Russia's convictions when it comes to these types of situations. Let's continue that conversation below. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.